Hey everyone, before we dive into this story, please hit that subscribe button to join our channel for more exciting tales. Block 1. I'd been prepping for weeks for the big client meeting, poring over every detail of the project proposal. My assistant, Claire, was supposed to support me, handling logistics and minor tasks. I trusted her to have my back, but I noticed she'd been acting oddly lately. During our prep sessions, she kept asking about my presentation slides. I thought she was just being thorough, wanting to understand the material. Little did I know, she had other plans brewing in her mind. The meeting was set to be a make-or-break moment for our team. I'd spent countless late nights refining every chart and data point. Claire seemed eager, but her questions felt strangely pointed. I brushed it off, focusing on the client's expectations instead. The day before, she offered to polish my slides for me. I agreed, thinking it was just formatting tweaks she meant. My gut told me something was off, but I ignored it. The morning of the meeting, I was ready to shine. The meeting room buzzed with anticipation as the client team filed in, all sharp suits and serious faces. I greeted them warmly, shaking hands and exchanging small talk to ease the tension. Claire sat quietly beside me, her laptop open, looking unusually composed. I launched into my presentation, walking through the project's goals and strategies. The clients nodded, clearly engaged, asking thoughtful questions as I spoke. I felt in my element, confident in the work I'd put in for months. Halfway through, Claire chimed in, adding a small point about the timeline. I appreciated her input. It seemed harmless at first, just team support. But then she started elaborating, using phrases straight from my script. I froze for a moment, unsure if I'd misheard or if she was overstepping. The clients didn't notice, but my stomach tightened. She was presenting my ideas as if they were her own. I kept my cool, waiting for the right moment to steer back. As the presentation continued, Claire's interruptions became bolder, and I could feel the room shifting. She started answering questions directed at me, using my exact talking points. I caught a few glances from the clients, their brows furrowing slightly. I tried to interject politely, but Claire kept cutting in, her voice confident. She even referenced a key insight I'd spent weeks researching alone. My heart raced. How could she claim credit for my work so blatantly? I stayed calm, smiling, not wanting to cause a scene in front of the clients. But inside, I was fuming, replaying every moment I'd shared my plans with her. The clients seemed impressed, but I wasn't sure who they thought was leading. I decided to let her talk, hoping she'd trip over her own ambition. Then, during a pause, the lead client, Mr. Harper, leaned forward. He looked directly at me, not Claire, with a knowing smile. Something big was about to happen. Mr. Harper cleared his throat, his voice calm but firm, cutting through Claire's latest comment. "I appreciate the enthusiasm," he said, "but I'd like to hear more from you directly." He pointed at me, his eyes steady, and the room went silent. Claire's face flushed, her confident facade cracking just a bit. I nodded, grateful for the chance to reclaim the narrative. I dove back into the presentation, detailing the project's core strategy. The clients leaned in, their focus entirely on me now, not Claire. I could feel her shrinking beside me, her earlier boldness fading fast. I didn't gloat, I just kept going, laying out the plan with clarity. Every slide, every statistic was mine, and I owned it fully. The clients asked more questions, and I answered with precision. Claire stayed quiet now, her laptop screen dimming from inactivity. The tide had turned, and I was back in control. The meeting progressed smoothly after that, with the clients fully engaged in my explanations. I walked them through the financial projections, which I'd spent hours perfecting. Claire didn't dare interrupt again, her earlier confidence replaced by unease. I could sense her discomfort, but I stayed focused on the task at hand. The clients were impressed, nodding and jotting down notes as I spoke. I felt a surge of pride. My hard work was finally paying off. Mr. Harper asked about a specific risk mitigation strategy I'd included. I explained it thoroughly, citing data I'd personally analyzed. Claire shifted in her seat, her silence louder than her earlier words. The clients didn't even glance her way now, their attention locked on me. I was in my zone, delivering every point with conviction. The meeting was mine, and Claire's attempt to steal the spotlight had failed. But the best was yet to come. As we neared the end, Mr. Harper stood up, signaling the close of the discussion. He thanked the team but then turned directly to me, his tone warm and sincere. "Your vision for this project is exceptional," he said, shaking my hand firmly. The other clients nodded in agreement, their smiles genuine and appreciative. Claire's face was a mix of shock and embarrassment. She hadn't expected this. Mr. Harper continued, praising the depth of my research and strategy. He even mentioned a specific slide I'd created, calling it brilliant. I felt a rush of validation, my weeks of effort recognized publicly. Claire tried to smile, but it was forced, her eyes avoiding mine. The clients didn't acknowledge her contributions at all, which stung her visibly. I didn't need to say anything. Mr. Harper's words said it all. The room felt lighter, my confidence soaring. This was my moment, and no one could take it away. After the meeting, the clients stayed to chat, asking follow-up questions about the project. They were eager to move forward, and I could tell they trusted my leadership. Claire packed her things quickly, mumbling about needing to check emails. I let her go without comment, focusing on the clients' enthusiasm instead. They praised the clarity of my presentation and the thoroughness of my data. One even asked for a copy of my slides to share with their board. I promised to send them over, feeling on top of the world. Claire's absence was barely noticed. She'd overplayed her hand and lost. I felt a pang of sympathy for her, but it was fleeting. She'd crossed a line, and the clients had seen through it. As we wrapped up, Mr. Harper pulled me aside privately. His next words would stay with me for a long time. "I've been in this industry for decades," Mr. Harper said, his voice low and serious. "I can always tell who's done the real work, and you're the one driving this." He patted my shoulder, a gesture of respect that meant everything. I thanked him, keeping my composure despite the pride swelling inside. He mentioned looking forward to working with me directly on the next phase. Claire wasn't even mentioned, her earlier stunt completely overshadowed. I nodded, promising to deliver even more in the future. As he left, I felt a weight lift. My work had been recognized, and Claire's ploy had backfired. I glanced at her empty chair, wondering what she'd been thinking. She'd underestimated me, and it had cost her dearly. Back at my desk, I started drafting the follow-up email. This project was mine, and I was ready to lead it. Later that day, Claire approached me, her tone apologetic but tinged with defensiveness. She claimed she'd only been trying to support the team in the meeting. I listened calmly, not buying her excuse for a second. She knew exactly what she'd done, and so did I. I kept my response short, saying we'd discuss it later with our manager. She nodded, clearly uncomfortable, and walked away quickly. I didn't feel the need to confront her further. The client's reaction had said enough. My focus was on the project now, not her failed power grab. I spent the afternoon outlining next steps, energized by the win. The client's trust in me was all the motivation I needed. Claire's misstep was a lesson, one I'd keep in mind moving forward. Trust is earned, and I'd earned it today. That evening, I reflected on the day's events, replaying the meeting in my mind. I'd worked too hard to let someone else take credit for my efforts. Claire's actions stung, but they also taught me to be more cautious. I decided to keep her at arm's length on future projects. The client's public recognition had solidified my position as the lead. I felt stronger, more confident in my ability to handle challenges. The project was on track, and I was ready to deliver results. Claire's mistake was a blip, not a setback. I jotted down some notes for our manager about the incident. Transparency would protect me if she tried anything again. As I shut my laptop, I smiled, knowing I'd come out on top. The client's trust was mine, and I wouldn't let it slip. The next morning, I met with our manager, Sarah, to debrief about the meeting. I explained what happened, keeping my tone professional and factual. Sarah listened carefully, her expression serious as I described Claire's actions. She nodded, saying she'd noticed Claire's overeagerness in past meetings too. I shared how Mr. Harper had redirected the focus to me, which impressed her. She assured me she'd address it with Claire privately to avoid future issues. I felt relieved. Sarah had my back, and that meant a lot. She praised my handling of the situation, calling it composed and effective. I left the meeting feeling validated, ready to focus on the project's next steps. Claire's stunt hadn't derailed me, it had only made me sharper. Back at my desk, I dove into the project timeline. The clients were counting on me, and I wouldn't let them down. By midday, I received an email from Mr. Harper, formalizing the project's approval. He reiterated his confidence in my leadership, copying the entire client team. The email felt like a trophy, proof of my hard work paying off. I forwarded it to Sarah, who replied with a quick, "Well done." Claire wasn't copied, and I wondered if she'd seen it. I didn't dwell on it. My focus was on the work ahead, not petty office drama. I started assigning tasks to the team, keeping Claire's role minimal for now. Her actions had consequences, and I wasn't ready to trust her again. The project was moving fast, with tight deadlines looming. I thrived under the pressure, energized by the client's trust. Every step forward felt like a victory. Claire's misstep was fading into the background. Over the next few days, the office dynamic shifted subtly but noticeably. Colleagues congratulated me on the client's feedback, unaware of Claire's role. She kept a low profile, avoiding me in the break room and hallways. I didn't gloat. I didn't need to. The truth had come out naturally, and that was enough. I focused on the project, setting up meetings and refining deliverables. The clients were responsive, sending detailed feedback that aligned with my vision. I felt in sync with them, our goals perfectly aligned. Claire attended one team meeting but stayed quiet, her usual chatter gone. I assigned her admin tasks, keeping her away from the core strategy. She nodded, accepting the role without protest. The project was on track, and I was leading with confidence. The client's trust fueled my drive. A week later, Mr. Harper requested a follow-up call to discuss next steps. I prepared thoroughly, ensuring every detail was covered in my notes. The call went smoothly, with the clients praising our progress so far. Mr. Harper mentioned my presentation again, calling it a game changer. I thanked him, keeping my tone humble but confident. Claire wasn't on the call. Sarah had reassigned her to another project. It was a relief to work without her shadow looming. The clients outlined their expectations for the next phase, and I took detailed notes. I felt in control, ready to tackle the challenges ahead. After the call, I shared the updates with the team, minus Claire. The project was mine to lead, and I was thriving in the role. The client's faith in me was unwavering. As the project gained momentum, I started receiving more recognition from the team. Colleagues noticed how I'd handled the client meeting with poise. Sarah even mentioned me in a company-wide email, praising my leadership. It felt good, but I stayed focused on the work, not the praise. Claire's name rarely came up now. She was busy with her new assignment. I heard through the grapevine she'd been humbled by the experience. I didn't wish her ill, but I was glad she'd learned her lesson. My days were filled with project updates and client calls. Every task I completed brought us closer to our goals. The clients sent regular feedback, always positive and encouraging. I was in my element, leading with clarity and purpose. The incident with Claire felt like a distant memory. One afternoon, Sarah called me into her office for a quick check-in. She wanted to discuss my role in the project moving forward. To my surprise, she offered me a lead role on another high-profile client account. The client meeting had caught the attention of senior management, she said. I was floored. My hard work was opening new doors. I accepted, eager to take on more responsibility. Sarah mentioned Claire's reassignment was permanent, a decision made to avoid conflict. I nodded, grateful for the clean slate. The new project would be a fresh challenge, and I was ready. Back at my desk, I started researching the new client. My confidence was at an all-time high. The incident with Claire had only made me stronger. The original project continued to progress smoothly, with milestones met on time. The clients were thrilled, sending emails praising our efficiency and creativity. I led weekly check-ins, keeping the team aligned and motivated. Claire's absence from the core team made everything easier. I delegated tasks clearly, ensuring everyone knew their role. The clients trusted my judgment, often deferring to my recommendations. I felt like a true leader, guiding the project with vision and precision. My nights were still long, but they were worth it. Every deliverable we sent was polished and professional. The client's satisfaction was my biggest reward. I was proving myself, not just to them but to myself. Claire's attempt to steal credit was a footnote now. During one client call, Mr. Harper brought up the presentation again, almost jokingly. "You set a high bar," he said, chuckling. "We're expecting big things from you." I laughed, promising to keep delivering at that level. The call was light-hearted but productive, with clear next steps outlined. I felt a deep sense of pride. My work was making an impact. After the call, I updated the team, who were equally excited about the progress. We were a well-oiled machine now, no drama in sight. Claire's name never came up, and I didn't bring it up either. The project was too important to dwell on past tensions. I focused on the future, mapping out the next phase. My leadership was solid, and the clients knew it. The path ahead was clear and exciting. As the weeks passed, I settled into my dual role, managing both projects with confidence. The new client was just as engaged as Mr. Harper's team, and I thrived on the challenge. My reputation in the company grew, with colleagues seeking my advice on their own projects. I was becoming a go-to leader, someone others could rely on. Claire, meanwhile, kept her distance, focusing on her new assignment. I heard she was doing fine but no longer pushing boundaries. The lesson had stuck, and I was glad for it. My focus remained on delivering exceptional work. The client's trust was my foundation, and I built on it daily. Every meeting, every email, was a chance to shine. I was no longer just a team member, I was a leader. Looking back, the incident with Claire was a turning point, not a setback. It taught me to trust my instincts and protect my work. I'd always been collaborative, but now I was more strategic about it. I shared ideas selectively, ensuring my contributions were clear. The client's public recognition had solidified my credibility. I carried that confidence into every meeting and task. The project was nearing its final stages, with deliverables exceeding expectations. Mr. Harper sent a personal note, thanking me for my leadership. It was a small gesture, but it meant the world. I framed it mentally, a reminder of what I'd achieved. Claire's misstep had faded, but its lesson lingered. I was stronger, wiser, and ready for more. The final client presentation was scheduled, and I was ready to close this chapter strong. I spent days perfecting every slide, ensuring no detail was overlooked. The team rallied behind me, contributing ideas but letting me lead. I appreciated their trust. It mirrored the client's confidence in me. Claire wasn't invited to this meeting, a decision Sarah made to keep things focused. I didn't argue, it was the right call. The presentation was my chance to showcase the project's success. I rehearsed every point, anticipating questions and preparing answers. The clients deserved my best, and I was determined to deliver. The night before, I reviewed my notes one last time. My confidence was unshakable now. This was my project, my moment, my victory. The day of the final presentation arrived, and the room was packed with stakeholders. Mr. Harper and his team sat up front, their expressions eager and expectant. I opened with a summary of our achievements, highlighting key milestones. The slides were crisp, the data compelling, and my delivery flawless. The clients nodded, some even smiling as I spoke. I felt their trust in every glance, every question they asked. I answered with clarity, drawing on months of hard work. The room was mine, and I owned it completely. No one could question my leadership now. The team backed me up, but I was the clear driver. As I wrapped up, Mr. Harper stood, leading a round of applause. It was a moment I'd never forget. After the presentation, the clients gathered around, showering me with praise. Mr. Harper called the project a resounding success, crediting my vision. Other stakeholders echoed his sentiments, asking about my availability for future work. I smiled, promising to stay in touch and deliver again. The team beamed with pride, sharing in the victory. We'd done this together, but my leadership had set the tone. I felt a deep sense of accomplishment, knowing we'd exceeded expectations. The clients requested a detailed report, which I promised to deliver. As they left, Mr. Harper shook my hand again, his grip firm. "You're a star," he said simply. I thanked him, my heart full. This was what I'd worked for. Back at the office, Sarah called a team meeting to celebrate the project's success. She singled me out, praising my leadership in front of everyone. The team cheered, and I felt a wave of gratitude for their support. Claire was there, clapping quietly, her expression neutral. I didn't acknowledge her. She'd made her choices, and I'd made mine. Sarah announced a small bonus for the team, a nice surprise. I used the moment to thank everyone, emphasizing our collective effort. But I knew, and they knew, who had carried the project. The victory was sweet, and I savored it fully. Later, I started drafting the client report. The work wasn't over, but the hardest part was done. I was ready for the next challenge. The client report was a hit, with Mr. Harper calling it the gold standard for project documentation. His team requested a follow-up meeting to discuss Phase 2, and I was thrilled. My role as lead was cemented, and I was eager to keep pushing. Sarah gave me more autonomy, trusting me to handle client relations. My confidence grew with every task, every email, every call. The incident with Claire was a distant memory, barely worth mentioning now. I'd proven myself, not just to the clients but to my team and myself. My career was on an upward trajectory, and I felt unstoppable. I started mentoring a junior colleague, sharing lessons I'd learned. Leadership came naturally now, and I embraced it fully. As the weeks turned into months, the project's success opened new doors for me. I was invited to speak at an industry conference about our approach. The opportunity was huge, a chance to showcase my expertise publicly. I prepared diligently, crafting a talk that highlighted our strategies. The conference was a success, with attendees praising my insights. Mr. Harper even attended, nodding approvingly from the audience. I felt like I'd come full circle, from that tense client meeting to this. Claire's name never came up, and I didn't think about her anymore. My focus was on the future, on building my reputation further. The clients remained loyal, requesting me for new projects. I was ready to lead, ready to shine. Back at the company, I was promoted to a senior role, a direct result of the project's success. Sarah cited my leadership and client feedback as key factors. I accepted the role with gratitude, knowing I'd earned it through hard work. My new responsibilities included overseeing multiple projects, a challenge I welcomed. I built a new team, carefully selecting members I could trust. Claire wasn't among them. She'd moved to a different department. I wished her well silently but kept my distance. My focus was on delivering results, not dwelling on the past. The clients continued to sing my praises, and I thrived on their trust. Every project felt like a chance to prove myself again. I was exactly where I wanted to be. The lessons from that meeting stayed with me, shaping how I approached my work. I became more protective of my contributions, documenting everything meticulously. I also learned to spot red flags in team dynamics early. Claire's actions had been a wake-up call, but they didn't define me. The client's recognition did. I carried that confidence into every new project, every meeting. My reputation grew, and so did my ambitions. I started eyeing bigger roles, maybe even a director position someday. The possibilities felt endless, and I was ready for them all. Mr. Harper became a mentor of sorts, offering advice when I needed it. His trust in me was a constant motivator. I was building a legacy, one project at a time. Looking back, that meeting was a crucible, testing my resilience and resolve. Claire's attempt to steal credit could have derailed me, but it didn't. Instead, it pushed me to be better, sharper, more strategic. The client's public thanks were a turning point, proving my worth to everyone. I'd earned their trust through hard work and integrity. That moment in the meeting room, when Mr. Harper called me out, was a victory I'd always cherish. It wasn't just about the project, it was about owning my value. I carried that lesson into every new challenge. My career was thriving, and I was unstoppable. The future was mine to shape, and I was ready. Nothing and no one could dim my light now. As I sit here now, reflecting on it all, I'm grateful for every moment of that journey. The late nights, the stress, the drama, it all led to this. I'm a leader now, trusted by clients and respected by my team. Claire's misstep was a blip, a lesson in disguise that made me stronger. I've got big plans, bigger projects, and even bigger dreams. The clients still reach out, eager to work with me again. Mr. Harper's words echo in my mind, a reminder of what I'm capable of. I'm not just surviving in this industry, I'm thriving. To anyone watching, know this: your work matters, and so does your voice. Protect it, own it, and never let anyone take it away. Here's to more victories, more growth, and more stories to tell. Thanks for listening to my story. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more tales of triumph and lessons learned.